Hey guys and girls, this is going to be my review of the second episode of ShowTime's Your Honor, the crime drama starring Bryan Cranston, and it's just called Part 2, so here we go. Full spoilers from the beginning, and another good episode. I enjoyed this one also. It could never really match the tension of that opening episode. It's a different sort of episode. We're getting more into the sort of the details now of the case and how it's all going to pan out, and the slow tension between the two sides of the case. So I'll get into it. It was an enjoyable episode. Again, some good sort of satire, some good character stuff. I think Cranston comes into it more in this episode because the first episode was so focused on the actual accident and the stuff going on with his son and the whole tension there. This focuses more on the Michael character because he obviously is hatching his plan and trying to take control of the situation. And I think for people who have seen Breaking Bad and Cranston's performance there, you're definitely starting to see more of that Cranston in this episode. The sort of the just desperation and the thinking on his feet and really just at times being very desperate and frantic to try and keep on top of the situation and control the situation and not let it get out of hand. And very good performance again. He's obviously a top-notch actor. And again, this builds on some of the themes of the opening episode. It's not as good as the first episode, and I do have one or two like small complaints. I mean, one's a very small complaint, but it's just you sort of have this a bit of a stereotypical crude like teenager type vibe to it at times, which I think can partly be explained because it's probably going for that slightly more pulpy, entertaining type show. But you have like a couple of scenes in school with Adam and like his friend and particularly one scene where I guess you can put this down just to male banter and just a way to like kill the tension, if you will, and not let things get too sort of serious or dark. But his friend actually makes a joke about Adam's dead mother having like big sort of breasts or tits, as he says. I better not say anything else. I'll get in trouble on YouTube, but I'll say breasts. But yeah, you think, well, it's a little off anyway, making jokes about a friend's mother's, breasts. But it's one thing to do it when she's still alive, but to do it when she's dead. But I sort of read it as like just crude banter in a way, just to keep things light, because the friend himself, outside of his like crude comments, does come off as a decent enough guy who's obviously sensitive to what Adam has like gone through. But there's another scene in the classroom where they have this new teacher. I'm assuming she's new because of like the reaction to her and stuff, but she's quite young and attractive, and there's just this segue by the friend is speaking of nice tits. And I guess my problem might just be, oh come on, and stereotypical crude teenagers coming out with the smut talk. I think we could have toned it down, but they seem to be obviously going for the more edgy adult type Showtime vibe. But also that I think we're going to get a subplot with maybe Adam being attracted to the teacher, and who knows? I mean, they might actually go the full hog and have a relationship between them. Maybe because of what Adam's going for. Maybe he'll see it as like a nice distraction, and obviously, have a parental figure in the teacher, but it kind of goes too far. Maybe they'll be going for that, because there's a moment between them in class where I can't remember what the class was, but it's something to do with poetry, and she's obviously asking the class about their opinions on like the poem and stuff. And Adam sort of puts his hands up and steps in and does a really good job of like explaining it. And there just seems to, the way it's filmed, it's a little bit televisual because it's just like this pause sort of between them, and it's almost like, wow, could there be sexual tension here, rather than just having it be a quick thing where she says, oh, very impressive, Adam. They actually do focus on it longer than you would think is natural. But then I'm pretty sure later on Adam is on the internet and he's looking her up on Facebook or something. There's just a little scene later, but we'll see. We'll see where, if they go any further with that, or how that plays out. That's a small complaint. I think a bigger complaint is the stuff with the gangster, with Jimmy in this. I really like that actor, and he's very good at playing sort of slimy characters like this. Now, he's not in the episode that much. Obviously, they're continuing the investigation, and he's sort of put his own men on it to try and get to the bottom of who did it, who killed his son. And they found the inhaler at the end of like the last episode, a big sort of cliffhanger. Well, they've sent that off for like DNA, but in this, I think my problem with him in this one is he just comes across as the quirky, kind of insane TV style gangster, where he only has a few short scenes, but it's kind of him talking about, because they've got like a bird, and I think it's like a parrot or something, or a budgie or something, but just talking about the lifespan of a bird and how they just sit in a cage and how pointless it all is, and just comparing that to, I guess, now his life, because he's obviously feels at a lost end because of losing his son and sitting around, and then later on he basically kills the bird. He takes the bird outside and he snaps. He goes crazy. He starts battering the cage with the bird in with a golf club, and it's just like this sort of darkly comedic scene, and it's just, yeah, this gangster going off the deep end, and just, it's kind of wacky sort of like humour, but I just thought the scene was a bit on the nose and a bit, yeah, stereotypical like TV or film gangster, just quite eccentric and off the wall. So, and obviously as the drama goes on, we'll hopefully get more from him, and the character will be given more to do. I hope so, because he's a really good actor. So the meat of the episode is obviously the main case, and from the point of view of Michael, and again it plays more into like the whole black angle of things, because Michael, we see him work on his alibi with the fact that he spoke to a girl in the cafe, and he's I think that bit must be a flashback, because he's asking her about the previous episode's case, and how to look in, and how to, like, it's to do with the not being able to look around the doorway, sort of, if you're looking into a hallway. And I think it's showing you that he got advice for the trial in the previous episode from like this calf worker, who also happens to be black. So again, just playing on that a little bit, but I think that also becomes like an alibi, because he was talking to her on the morning, sort of thing. But the main part of it is that he gets his friend Charlie, his lawyer friend, to get rid of his late wife's car, because that's the car which Adam was driving at the time, and just to get rid of it. And it becomes this whole thing where, again, we see the clogs working, where Charlie, he has links to a black street gang, and he gets this young kid to get rid of it. And I think it's meant to be like the son of the woman who was on trial in the first episode, the one who ultimately the judge, the Michael character, went to bat for and actually turned the tables on the racist cops. But it's meant to be her son, I think. So he's part of a street gang, and he's used. I think it's just showing how, you know, poor urban black kids are often used by powerful white characters to take the fall, to take the bait. So he's given the car by Charlie, and he's then later caught by the police because, as an alibi, Michael reports the car stolen to kind of take that out of the picture, take out any suspicion that the car could have been used and that it was him or obviously his son involved. So they pick up this black street kid, they pick up the car, and again, it's playing up the angle of police racism about the fact that it's almost like the police want to just write off the street kid and just assume that he did it, that he's involved with drugs and that, so why would you believe that he's innocent? And the way the whole dialogue goes between the officer investigating it and Michael when she brings him in and questions him, is that she takes it very easy on Michael. Again, I think Michael uses his position and things like that. He's highly respected. That they're all, or certainly this detective is always going to believe him over a street, essentially like stereotypical street thug who does protest his innocence. And it's a good scene actually, because again we see certain point where Michael is almost caught out. He's sort of skirting around certain questions where he almost puts his foot in it. And I wasn't quite sure actually if he intended the card to be found, or if the whole idea is that the guy just gets rid of it and then that's sort of solved, and it was just an accident and then the police found it. I was a bit unclear on that, or whether it was the whole plan was to just pin the crime on this guy, a guy which the racist police, if you like, and obviously I'm using broad strokes in saying that, but that's sort of what the drama's going for at times. Then they would just assume it was him anyway and pin it on him. But there's sort of clever moments of tension where Michael almost slips up and it almost comes back on him. And the main detail is that the phone is discovered, and it's the phone which obviously Adam would have had with him, and where he at one point actually phoned like 911, and that obviously if they find that out then they're in big trouble. So anyway, later on the people who's working for Jimmy, that they like pick up, they rough up the kid, that they get a hold of him and sort of threaten to kill him and stuff if he doesn't like tell the truth. And what ultimately happens is he's to appear in court, and there's pressure on him to plead guilty. That there's this outside sort of force who must be working for. I mean, it's debatable how much Michael knows about this, but there's this other character in prison who makes threats, not to the guy himself, but to his family. The warning is that if you don't take the fall for this, we'll go after your family. Your mother and your young brother, and that sort of forces him really to sort of plead guilty. But later on, Michael, his sort of guilty conscience starting to get the best of him, because he has this thing with this other lawyer who's quite attractive, and there seems to be like a a vibe between them, but he actually gets her to represent the kid moving forward. So that's going to become obviously another thing. And again, his sort of guilty conscience playing with him. And I think as we move further with the drama, there's going to be all these different forces working against him, because his son at one point sees on the news about this kid getting arrested, and he's not happy. He that doesn't sit well with Adam. That the fact that this other guy is taking the rap for him, and it would be one thing to say, well, let's just, you know, sort of make it so this can't be tracked back to Adam and there's no evidence against Adam, but clearly the son is unhappy, then this other guy looks as though he's going to take the rap for him, and that's obviously understandable, and that's something which you can imagine causing tension between father and son. So that's pretty much the episode. Another good episode. I enjoyed it a fair bit. Some interesting drama. One or two small bits then didn't quite sit with me, but overall I liked this one as well, and I'll continue with it for next week. So that is episode 2 of Your Honour, if you've been watching it, or if you've watched it already, because I know it's been on in the States. Then please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You can like and subscribe to support the channel. Also support me on PayPal if you want. You can make a small donation. I'll put the link in the description. And also get me on Twitter at Keith Beard. But I'll be back with more new TV reviews soon. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.